Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Citizen Live at 1. I am Terianne Chibet. Now, close to 6,000 litres of illicit brew was confiscated during an operation at Mwariki Estate in Kaptembwa, Nakuru County, as the crackdown on illegal brew across the country is heightened. The Nakuru County Commissioner, Mohamed Birik, has at the same time reiterated that chiefs who abdicate their responsibility to fight illegal brews will be sacked. Alex Kubasu will bring us the details in just a moment. Now, governors are at this moment meeting in Naivasha to elect their council officials. The Council of Governors elections are held annually, and the positions that will be contested include that of the chair, currently held by Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto, and that of the council's vice chairman, currently held by Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero. The secretary's position is currently occupied by Bungoma County boss Ken Lusaka. It is expected that Ruto and Lusaka will reclaim their seats unopposed. Since no other governor has expressed interest in the chairmanship and the secretary's positions, Dr. Kidero is expected to square it out with his Kwale County counterpart, Salim Vuria, for the vice chairmanship. There were indications earlier of a plan to dethrone Ruto, who has been deemed a fierce critic of the Jubilee administration, but governors have thrown their weight behind him, terming him a passionate and dedicated defender of devolution.
And you're supposed to, not necessarily competing, but you're supposed to be solid.
You learn very important to us, and that's.
Now, a woman is nursing cats at the Nyeri District Hospital after being allegedly attacked by her husband following a domestic row. 35-year-old Magdalene Wangari is alleged to have been assaulted by her husband after borrowing water jerrycans from her neighbor. She says that her family had disagreements over various issues in the past, though it had not reached the extent of assault.
Saa kutoka kwa maji, mimi kurudi kwangu, ndio alianza kuniuliza tulikuwa tunafanya nini na huyo mama. Nikamwambia nilikuwa nampatia mitungi yake ya maji. Hatukuwa tina jambo lingine tulikuwa tunafanya. Sadi alianza kuniongelesha kwa ukali. Lakini mimi sikuwa nafikiria ati anaweza pigana vile. Ndio nilimsikia nyuma yangu amenikata na panga huku kwa mkono.
6 people were seriously injured in an accident involving 2 lorries which collided head-on along the Isebania-Kisii highway. The injured include the drivers of both lorries and their turnboys. One lorry was reportedly transporting maize from Tanzania, while the other is said to have been delivering a consignment of shoes from Nairobi to Western Kenya. According to the driver of one of the lorries, the collision occurred at an area of poor visibility along the highway due to foggy weather. Rongo Sub-County AP Commandant David Ngetich said the injured are being treated at the Migori District Hospital.
And you know this a kona ambaye kwamba mmoja ingepatia mwingine nafasi na mdereva mwenyewe nafikiri wako na makosa. Madereva wenyewe wangepeana nafasi ambayo ndio mwingine apite na mwingine apite.
Now, the government has been urged to provide an enabling environment for entrepreneurs to thrive. Chairman of the National Association of Private Universities Union, Gisharu, says that universities have the capability of producing entrepreneurs, but they need to be supported by the government in order to achieve their dreams. Gisharu was speaking during the inaugural Mount Kenya University Enterprise Academy graduation, where 9 students with business ideas who have been in training at the university for the last 3 months were each awarded a grant of up to 800,000 shillings to start their own businesses.
In our country, I would say, without any iota of doubt, that we can be able to create more than 1 million jobs every year. We are a developing economy. We have a lot of resources. And I am very sure that we can be able to create 1 million jobs every year. All of what we need to do is to ask the government to create an enabling environment.
Well, it's time now for our one-on-one interview, and we're joined by Cesare Mbaria, the Director of Surveys. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Of course, there seems to be quite a collusion of roles between the Lands Ministry and the National Land Commission. What exactly is happening there?
Well, thank you, Terry-Ann, and thank you very much for inviting me to this interview. Really, Terry-Ann, the functions of the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, whereas the functions of the National Land Commission, they are very clear. Indeed, the Constitution of Kenya, which passed in 2010, is very clear. If you look at the Article 67(2), the functions of the National Commission are very well stipulated there. First is to manage public land on behalf of the national government and county government. Two, you have to recommend national land policy. Three, they have to advise on a comprehensive registration of land. And you can go on, research on land, carry out historical injustice, carry out dispute resolutions, assess tax, and oversight responsibility on land use planning. So it is very clear to me in my mind that the Constitution as it states is very clear, and that's the mandate.
Right.
So maybe what we'll be asking is what is that which they have delivered.
All right. Perhaps you can just tell us then, who does the law mandate to issue land title deeds, especially since that Cabinet Secretary Ngilu scrapped the title of the Land Commissioner, who was supposedly legally in charge for issuing titles?
Terry-Ann, our mandate is very clear and is constitutional. We are not doing anything out of the context of the Constitution. When you look at Article 60D of the Constitution, we are talking of the transparent and cost-effective administration of land. And for this, the Cabinet Secretary is mandated to ensure that Kenyans throughout the country get the titles. Since independence, for the last 50 years or so, we have been able to issue only 5.6 million titles. And as you are aware, the government is to issue 3 million titles within 3 years. What does that tell you? That somehow something was not going on well before, wherever you could issue only 112,000 titles per year. And here we are saying we are going to issue 1 million titles per year. And this, as far as the registration function, is a function of the national government. Indeed, the land registrars and even the surveyors are recruited through the Public Service Commission. To do what? To effect this registration function. Yes.
Now, of course, land is a very emotive issue for most Kenyans, and the negative publicity and what we have seen, going on over the past few months is raising many questions with Kenyans. And I'm just wondering, what are you doing to deal with the situation?
I think it's unfortunate, and I think it's very important for the members of public to appreciate the work we are doing. As I've mentioned, we have that problem we are trying to address by ensuring we do the survey and registration functions in a better way. Before, we used to have independent silos, whereby when we are carrying out the registration function or the survey function, we are not housed in one center. Today, and I don't know whether you witnessed this yesterday, we have established what we are calling a national titling program. This national titling program, which is located at the Survey Field Headquarters, Waraka, is aimed to address the problems we have been having, those independent titles, and also using manual methods, obsolete methods of carrying out our function. Now we are in one house, all of us, where we have the surveyor, the adjudication officer, the land registrar, and therefore queries which used to take years to solve, they will be solved in a more accurate way and faster way. And at the end of the day, what we are looking for is that we shall be able to ensure that the Kenyans get their land transactions in a more efficient manner, in a more timely manner, because we are going to use the digital technology. Yes.
Talking about land transaction, of course, we had the directive of freezing of title deeds issuance since January. Perhaps you can tell us what the progress is up to date, and there is a fear, of course, that that is going to negatively impact the economy among other things. So what is the current status of that, and what do we expect to see going forward?
I don't think there is, getting your question right, the freezing of
issuance of title deeds.
Issuance of title deeds. I don't think there is a freezing of the issuance of a title deeds. What we did is we asked to be given time to organize our records for two weeks. In order that we can be able to serve our members of public in a more faster way, more efficient way. This idea of when you want a service in our ministry, and whenever you come, you want a service, there is a missing file, the file is lost. This is what we want to address. This is what to address. And all what we can ask Kenyans is to bear with us for these 2 weeks in order to improve on the service delivery.
So what you are effectively saying is that once the house is in order, within 2 weeks' time, so to speak, which should be next week, that the issuance of title deeds will be back on track.
Yes, certainly yes.
Okay.
Yes, from 19th. Yeah.
All right. Now, the CS also said that at the house, which houses the National Land Commission, will be closed for 2 weeks, as you have just said. Install CCTV cameras. Won't it negatively impact government revenue at this time when we are trying, to be careful about what the government is spending its money on?
Terry, I think we need to look at the bigger picture. And this is a bigger picture. Now, we have said we are going to issue 1 million titles. Let us take a very conservative figure that a piece of land is about 100,000 Kenya shillings. And that is very conservative. If we issue 1 million titles, what we are injecting in the economy is 100 billion shillings. For 3 million titles, it will be 300 billion shillings. And the services will be far much faster. The transaction will be far much faster. And therefore, this will improve the socio-economic development of our country.
But of course, Kenyans are also worried about the fact that, what if this rearrangement of files will actually be give an opportunity to, criminals to come in and exchange files or create even a worse situation?
Tarian, I would like to invite you to the center we are creating, because one of the things we have improved on the security. Today, what we are saying, even in Nadi House, come 19th May, we will be using biometric system for you to be able to enter particular offices. It will be not business as usual, that anybody can go wherever he wants. We are also establishing what we are calling a file tracking system, so that we can be able to know at any one time where is this particular file and who was to deal with it, who issued it, how long has it taken in that office. And therefore, we just look forward to a better way of serving the Kenyans.
As we wind up, just explain to us the process of acquiring a title deed, because many Kenyans, at least by what we are going with on our social media platforms, they're saying, how do I get a title deed if I have no idea where to start?
First and foremost, there must be survey to be carried out as a director of service. That's my function, because a title deed is not worth the paper is written on if you don't know where it is. And therefore, a title deed must be accompanied by a registration map. There is also the issue of planning of the same. If it's adjudication areas, there is an issue of ascertainment of the rights. To say, are you really the owner of this piece of land? And finally, there will be the registration. In other words, the registrar will give you the title deed. Yeah.
And what costs should I expect to incur when trying to get a title deed?
Well, it will depend from place to place, because each of these functions, they have a cost attached to them. For instance, for survey, it is the minimum is 10,000 shillings. But of course, when we are dealing with the say, we also have the social service. That is, sometimes the government can be able to even waive some of these fees depending on the need, because for the policy of the government, as you are aware, is to ensure that we are able to serve the mwananchi. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, of course highlighting some of these key issues that Kenyans have been really curious about, especially the tiff that seems to be going on between the Lands Ministry and the National Land Commission. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been Cesare Mbaria, the Director of Surveys. Well, we are taking a short break now. We'll be back with more after this short break.